We did it, boys. We're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-hosts, Will Cohen and Dylan Vigna. Today, we're going to be doing a recap of the series against the Carolina Hurricanes and what a roller coaster it was. We never lost faith. There were some points that we lost faith, but at the end of the day, Peter Laviolette came through. We're back. I know Tony's not here, but he wanted me to give his official statement. He said, he said a lot of things. What did he say? That he never lost faith in Peter Laviolette and that he's super excited to see Chris Kreider's jersey hanging in the Rafters one day. I'm pretty sure that was everything he said. But before we really get into this, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. If you're watching us on Apple or Spotify, be sure to give us a 5-star review. Leave your thoughts on that series down in the comment section below. And lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But I'm excited. I'm amped up. Let's really get into this breakdown. Will, how are you doing today? And what was your initial reaction to Game 6?
I almost went through my ceiling. I jumped so high. Like my mom and sister were pretty impressed how high I got. Like they wanted to test my vertical, but I couldn't believe that. And I'm going to be completely honest. I lost all faith. If anyone was watching the live stream, they knew I was pretty pissed.
Yeah, we had an interesting Instagram live stream in between periods 2 and 3.
Oh my, yeah, that was that was crazy. And then Chris Kreider scored his first goal in third, and my mom was so confused I didn't even cheer, and I was like, they're gonna lose anyway. I was like, whatever. I'm so used to it. And then all of a sudden he scores 2 more, and it's 4-3, and I really could not believe it. Like that is the team that I know and have seen throughout this entire year when they faced adversity. And that might have been the best period of hockey they have played in this entire playoffs. Like I'm being completely serious. Like I do not remember Carolina controlling the puck for that long in that period, maybe like 30 seconds throughout the entire thing. But that was a great third period. I mean, I really can't believe that. I can't believe they made that comeback.
Incredible comeback. Kreider legacy game for sure. But Dylan, welcome back to the pod. How are you doing, and what was your initial reaction to the game? Tell me about the roller coaster of emotions that you went through. You're muted.
Sorry, fellas. So last night we had a little bit of everything. First 2 periods went like the last 2 prior games had gone. I actually thought, I haven't been with you guys on for a while, but I thought Game 4 they played a really, really good game and just came up short. Game 5 was obviously an absolute embarrassment. Last night got off to an absolutely terrible start. I mean, you had multiple plays throughout the first 2 periods where it just looked like it wasn't our night. You had the Lindgren, makes a good play with a stick. It ends up in behind our net, and right out in front is an open net. That play right there is that 1-0 late goal. Then the second goal is just an awful turnover, a terrible pinch by Miller, and you're thinking, here we go again. Then they get the goal from Trocheck, and it's like, okay, maybe we're going to do that thing, that we've done all year. And then they just, after that goal, immediately shut it down again, and Nate just walks right in and buries another one. At that point, at the second period, I didn't think they had it in them. We saw them come back from 4-1 at the Stadium Series. We have seen major comebacks from this team this year. However, in those games, you almost felt like if it shouldn't have been 4-1. Like I know we bring up the Stadium Series a lot because we were both there, but never in that game did it felt like they were going to lose that game. Like they were dominating play. They were in the offensive zone. Last night they weren't. For 40 minutes, they had no sustained pressure outside of maybe a couple shifts. And then in the third period, it changed. Right from the puck drop, they seemed to have a different energy. Shesterkin made a big save on, I believe it was Chatfield, a point shot that got tipped in front. I forgot who got the tip in, but he makes a good save. Then it seemed like he was almost settled himself down. And then Chris Kreider does something I didn't think he had in him, I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, I was clamoring all week for somebody out of the big guys to step up, and he took it upon himself, and that was absolutely, if they go on to win the Stanley Cup, that was a Mark Messier type of third period that he put in, and tremendous, unbelievable third period, and they need to make sure that that's how they're going to play this next series, because I'm sure we'll get into it, but whether it's Florida, whether it's Boston, those are 2 really good hockey teams, and you cannot play like they did for 7 or 8 periods of this Carolina series because it won't be close. So they need to play that third period all the time. And now that we've seen it, we know that they have it in them. But I was stunned. I was full of joy. I said to a couple of my buddies up at school here, as we're winding down a little bit, senior week and all that stuff. But I said to them, I could cry. And I texted Eric too. That was an unbelievable comeback, and I'm very, very proud of them today. I feel like a proud father almost.
Yeah, game of the year, I think. The most important game. I just want to say I did correctly predict it before the series started. I said Rangers in 6. And sure, the order in which the wins came might not have been ideal,
Yeah.
but I was right. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to convey right now. But Dylan, you talked a lot there about Kreider. I want to just dedicate like at least a couple more minutes to him and what he did. Because heading into Game 6, we talked about how in Games 4 and 5, the stars really weren't showing up. Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin, Trocheck hadn't really been doing anything.
Fox.
Yeah, even Fox.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just strictly offense right now, though. I mean, Trocheck had a goal last night. Panarin had
Big one.
2 assists, I believe. Zibanejad, I think, had at least 1 assist. And then Kreider with the hat trick. So when we talk about the stars needing to show up, they did. And I couldn't be happier the fact that happened. And, not every goal was a power play goal. I think only one.
Only one. Yep.
Only one of Kreider's was. So scoring at 5v5, they weren't the prettiest goals. Kreider banking it off of Anderson's skate basically and in. But at the end of the day, it was a goal. The deflection by Kreider off the Panarin shot was absolutely beautiful.
That was tremendous. It's what he does all year.
And then, it's Chris Kreider. And I know Steve Valiquette said in his post-game show that this was the game that gets Kreider's jersey up into the rafters. And I just want to say I fully agree with that. I think even if this game didn't happen, like if the Rangers lost yesterday and then lose in a Game 7 and then Kreider just randomly retires, I think he still would have gotten his jersey retired. Maybe not immediately, but it would have happened. But last night was the Kreider legacy game. I think
absolutely
he showed everything that he had. And then even just after the game, the class act, he gave his stick to a young Carolina fan, just world-class guy, great player, great human being. And what would we do without Christopher James Kreider? That's all. I don't know, Will. You didn't really get a chance to talk about Kreider. If you want to add anything onto the glazing, but
Chris Kreider's a horse. Like, I know you talking about how they weren't the prettiest goals, but sometimes, when you're down 3-1, like those greasy goals, when you score those greasy goals first before pretty goals, like that's what gets you. Like that's what gives you energy back in your game. It's just like getting that one goal is going to propel you to get the next, and that's what it did for the Rangers. Obviously, Trocheck's tipped in. I mean, It looked like Anderson. I thought Anderson had that goal, that puck, and then obviously Chris Kreider's Mika Zibanejad just put it on net, and it was laying right by his skate and glove. Actually, I don't know how he didn't make that save, but and then Kreider jams it home, and then that's when they started scoring, the prettier goals and. I mean, God, Chris Kreider just, I mean, I can't believe that performance from him. I really can't. Like, that was a legacy game from him, and doing it in the last 20 minutes when the Rangers needed their stars the most is that it makes it even better. So Chris Kreider is a horse, and he is 100% going to have his jersey retired his number retired whenever that day comes, and hopefully it's not soon because that'd be pretty sad.
Yeah, hopefully we got a couple more good years left in him. But I think the best part about Kreider last night was that in the second intermission, he said, he was like, "Don't worry, boys, I got one in me." Turns out he had 3 in him. So, shout out him for that. But aside from Kreider in Game 6, I want to look at just like the entire series as a whole here and do like a whole series recap.
Yep.
I know, Dylan, you said there are some surprise players from the series that you wanted to talk about. So I'll let you first. I just wanted to share my surprise player. And I don't even want to say that I'm surprised because I love him, but I'm just blown away by how Alexis Lafreniere played.
He was tremendous.
I was expecting him to have a really good series, but there were certain games where he was outperforming Panarin and Trocheck combined.
Yep.
So to see him excel like that, he's definitely my surprise player. even though I knew he'd do good, I didn't think he would do that good and blow my mind like that. But that's mine. Dylan, I'll let you share who you're thinking about.
I got a couple here, boys. I think first you got to start with a guy that has had a roller coaster since he came over. Jack Roslovic last night was tremendous. And I know our buddy Johnny Lazarus had a post out today. Go watch it, Ranger fans. Jack Roslovic took a beating on that second goal, allowed Mika Zibanejad time to get in there and be the secondary support. That was something the Rangers weren't doing earlier in the series. In the 2 games they had lost. He took a beating there on that half wall, and then he makes an outstanding play on the 4th goal, the 3rd Kreider goal, the 4th goal of the game for us. He wraps around the net, gives Lindgren space to make a good pass, and I thought he had a roller coaster of a series. He was a lot of good, a lot of bad, but last night Jack Roslovic was outstanding. And another guy, I just mentioned him, Ryan Lindgren, had a rough series up until last night. And I actually thought, after he was given, the first goal was really on him. I thought he made a rough play, but he makes an unbelievable pass, something I didn't think he had in him. Then one guy that surprised me overall the entire series, and I don't know if it's even a surprise anymore, but Keandre Miller is tremendous. He really is. This guy wins puck battles. He is really the only defenseman that does it consistently on the team. His skating is superior, and he's a very, very, very good offensive threat. I thought he was tremendous in the series. And then, now one more here, not to just keep on going, but Igor, it's not even a surprise anymore, but it's going to get lost in the fact that, Jordan Martinook makes a save and, Chris Kreider does what he does. And last night was craziness, but 2 saves with the Rangers up 4-3 that he made that are as close to legendary saves as they can be. One on Jordan Stahl right down the chute with not a white jersey around him, and another on Andrei Svechnikov, who beat Will Cooley to the spot on a face-off with the net pulled. Those 2 saves, they do not win the game without those 2 saves, obviously. He was tremendous. He's been tremendous all playoffs. And those 4 guys for me got it done. And obviously the big boys stepping up when we needed it most.
That's a good take. Will, was there anyone who stood out to you with any surprise performances?
Roslovic. I like Dylan said, I think he had a pretty up and down series, but when Roslovic's on his game, that guy, he's good. I mean, he's a great skater. He can produce offensively, and I like that. I like how you brought up on that. What was it? The
second goal.
Yeah, the second goal we scored. I mean, yeah, he took a beating. Like
Jack Field rode him all the way down the wall.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I'd be shocked if he didn't have a piece of his jersey missing from that. Like absolute freaking board burns on his jersey. I mean, he got hammered by Chatfield on that, and then obviously kicks it right back out to Zibanejad, and obviously he puts it on net. Kreider scores, but Roslovic, when he's on his game, man, is he fun to watch. I mean, he is just such a tremendous.
You can see the talent.
Yeah, he never really has to dump and chase because his skating ability just gets him into the offensive zone almost every single time, and that's what I know. A lot of Ranger fans had some problems with him because in the regular season he wasn't performing, but it seems like he is kind of like he's like Frank Vetrano, exactly like Frank Vetrano, not a regular season guy, but once you come to the playoffs, his game is stepped up. I mean, that's when he shines the brightest. So Jack Roslovic, I mean, man, he needs a lot more credit than he's getting.
And quickly too, especially on the backs of Game 5, when he clearly makes a flyby on the Kuznetsov goal. It was nice to see that he didn't do that here in Game 6, and he learned from it. And I think that has a lot to do with the coaching staff, just showing the tape to him.
Yeah.
There were a lot of positives from this series. A lot of players played phenomenally, as we just went over. But as happy as we are and as good as the 5 is, I want to address Jacob Trouba. Again,
Tough.
He had a terrible game again.
Tough.
Dude,
tough night. I mean, he falls down in the first period and gets bailed out by a Shesterkin save on a breakaway. He had a rough series, and I think part of the reason why you saw him go back with Miller, and I'm sure you guys have been talking about this, was because Miller needs to bail his ass out. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Me and Will are in agreement that Miller was our best defenseman throughout.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They were so. I mean, and no need to. I don't want to like name call anyone. Well, I'm not going to name call, but to do this to people in the live stream yesterday. I mean, there were people that were saying that Keandre Miller was not our best defenseman that series, and I get like they were like, he's making turnovers, everything, this, that, and the other. But like, yeah, turnovers happen. That happens in the game.
Everyone's going to make.
Everyone makes turnovers. Connor McDavid turns the puck over, like
no doubt.
But he played so he really stepped his game up after obviously and had a little bit of a rough stretch in the season in the beginning of the season and then got paired with Schneider and it kept the ball rolling, but he really stepped up his game in the playoffs and this is a defenseman. This is the player that we knew Keandre Miller could be, and it's why so many people were hard on him, I guess. But I mean, God, he had a phenomenal series for himself, and I don't think enough people are going to talk about him either.
Agreed.
Yeah, they won't, but at least we have the opportunity to and really just open some people's eyes on how good Miller was and just how bad Jacob Trouba has been. But, the series is over. It's time to move on to whoever comes next, and hopefully Trouba has time to work on his game. That's the best part. Like, we're the first series done. Extra rest for us. Yep. Fine by me. But
May 22nd, game 1, Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
dude, 2 days after my 21st. Like, today, seriously?
Hey, if we would have won in game 5, it probably actually no, because we still had to wait for other series.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's Friday right now, the 17th, and this upcoming Wednesday.
5 days. Yep, 5 days.
Yeah. So that's exciting. But we talked about the offense. We talked about the defense. Obviously, just want to give a quick shout out to Igor Shesterkin. Wouldn't be here without him. We don't even need to dedicate minutes of this episode talking about him. It's just we all agree Igor's the GOAT, best goalie in the world. Wouldn't have won the series without him.
No doubt. When he's on, I don't know if there's anybody better. Although Swayman's giving him a run for his money.
Swayman.
I don't know if we're going to get into that or not, but that would be a hell of a goalie matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it for a second. I guess like the last thing I'll say before we wrap up is that the Rangers still don't know who they'll be facing in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's either going to be the Florida Panthers or the Boston Bruins. Florida currently leads that series 3-2. They play in their Game 6 tonight. So we could know by the end of this evening, or Boston could force a Game 7 and we'd have to wait a couple more days. Personally, for me, I hope that a Game 7 is forced, just so whoever wins is more tired because they've played a whole extra game. And while I do believe that Boston would be an easier opponent than Florida, I have to say that I will be rooting for Florida because I am in Florida and I would very much like to go see a game with.
There you go. I also don't know, and again, this is kind of maybe my goalie takes here, but I don't know how much the hot goalie plays into this whole thing because outside of maybe Shesterkin, like I said before, Swayman's been the best, and that team is the kind of team that if they can ride a goalie, and Swayman has been their guy, you almost don't want to touch that. If I don't, I know Florida's a really good team, and on paper they're definitely better than Boston, but Jeremy Swayman's the equalizer there for me, and I don't know. Either way, it's going to be a tough matchup. I think you get the hot goalie or the hot team.
I do just want to add, because I did just say that Boston would be the easier opponent. That doesn't mean that I think they would be an easy opponent. I just think they'd be easier than Florida, because I can understand it's being like, Eric, it's the conference finals. All teams are good. I know. Trust me. Just delete whatever you're typing, please. I always say something dumb that people come after me for because I'm horrible at wording my phrases the right way. But just for the fact that I want to go to a game, I'm hoping we play Florida. But that's just me. But Will, how are you feeling? And if you have an opinion, who would you rather play?
I don't know. Like, I don't want to. I'm so superstitious that I don't want to say anything. But
you don't have to. We know we respect superstitions on this channel. You don't have to say it.
Like, honestly, I think I don't really care who we play. I think both matchups are going to be great. Like, I think we match up well against both, or I guess like both teams we match up well against both teams, and so I think they would be very fun series. And I mean, I'd probably have a heart attack through every single game of the series, but I mean, I don't really care. I'm I guess I'm looking forward to playing either team just because I know that, well, not the history with the Florida Panthers as much, but obviously, the history with the Bruins, and we haven't seen them in the playoffs since, I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember the
20
last time.
years and
2013.
Yeah, 2013. So it'd be fun to get a classic matchup again, and obviously original six matchup in the Eastern Conference Final, and such a rivalry with a lot of history. So that'd be fun, but also the Panthers are a very fun team to watch, and I think we match up very well against them too. So I'm looking forward to playing either team, in my opinion.
I think play styles matters too here because two teams play extremely differently. And you watch some of that series, Florida's a bigger, heavier team, whereas not saying the Rangers can't play both styles. Boston is a little bit of slower, finesse kind of team. Yeah. Rangers can match up well with both of those styles, but now that's where questions will come in with personnel decisions. If you play Florida, do you want Rempe in there to police? Do you want Hedl not there because of the way they physically are? Do you want Brodzinski's speed? Like, that would make for very interesting. Is Blake Wheeler all of a sudden going to be ready to go? I mean, these are all things that I think, depending on if you play Boston, does Blake Wheeler fit in there for a good matchup? It's all. Yeah, I think matchup wise, it would depend a lot on personnel and how the Rangers would attack either team.
Yeah, I will say I don't want to get too deep into all those questions because they are valid questions. But every question you had will probably be a video topic leading up to the series.
No doubt.
So we got to wait to see who we're actually playing first. Like I said, that could be tonight. It could be in a couple days that we'll learn. But either way, the Rangers are halfway there. I will also say that before this series started against Carolina, I very honestly said that I thought whoever came out of this series would go on to win the cup, whether it be us or Carolina. I thought we were easily the two best teams left in it. And I really hope that I'm right because now the Rangers made it out of it alive. So that about wraps up our series discussion and recap of the Rangers versus the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round of 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm happy that it ended in a good way, and we appreciate all the support that you guys gave us throughout the series. It was an emotional journey. Couldn't have done it without you. But to everyone who's watching still, be sure to like and subscribe, and you ring that bell so you miss notification. The content is going to only ramp up as the playoffs go further and further in, and the Rangers are still in it. But like I said, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below on anything, how you felt about this series, any standout players that we might have forgotten to mention, or any specific plays that you really want to remind us of. Lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers on Instagram, X, and TikTok for daily Rangers content. Once again, we did it, boys. Have a good one, and let's go Rangers.